lunch is the Admiral of the Navy George Dewey Award Luncheon, and in fact, named after a distinguished naval career, Admiral who was the longest serving Commander General of the Naval Order of the United States from 1907 to 1917.
Wow.
Admiral Dewey graduated from the Naval Academy and was warranted a midshipman in 1857. He went on to a distinguished career and in 1896 was advanced to the rank of Commodore. In 1897, Commodore Dewey was given command of the U.S. Navy Asiatic Squadron and placed his flag in the cruiser USS Olympia, which some of you boarded last spring on the East Coast, and Captain Charles V. Gridley was the commanding officer. On May 1st, 1898, Olympia took part in the Spanish-American War action at Manila Harbor, and there, Admiral Dewey gave the famous command, "You may fire when ready." Gridley. The battle was won without a single loss of American life. A grateful Congress created for him the rank of Admiral of the Navy on March 2nd, 1899, and Admiral Dewey held this rank until his death in Washington, D.C. in 1917. We, the Naval Order, are most proud that this year's Admiral of the Navy George Dewey Award recipient, which is given, as stated on the plaque, reflecting singular credit and honor upon himself and his nation, and earning the enduring gratitude of his fellow countrymen, he stands primus inter primus. Mr. Fred Smith, we are most honored to present this award to you. I'm going to give a quick representation of your background here, if I may, and then if you would join me up here at the podium. Mr. Smith was born in Memphis, Tennessee, according to a recent article, while attending Yale University. He wrote a paper on the need for reliable overnight delivery in a computerized information age. After graduation, Mr. Smith enlisted in the Marine Corps and served 2 tours of duty in Vietnam. While in the military, he observed military procurement and delivery procedures carefully with an eye toward someday realizing his dream of a vast network dedicated to overnight commercial delivery. Mr. Smith started his express transport business known as Federal Express, or less formally as FedEx, in 1971 when he left the service. Today's business world now depends on the FedEx fleet of cargo aircraft that circle the globe carrying all manner of goods. FedEx Express is the world's leading express transportation provider with more than 300,000 team members worldwide. Fields a fleet of 630 aircraft and 47,000 other vehicles and delivers over 3.9 million packages every business day to more than 220 countries and territories. And maybe even more since this was written, sir, I'm not sure. The company continues to develop along the lines Mr. Smith predicted in his term paper in college. Of particular significance to the Naval Order, in 2013, the Naval Order approached FedEx with our dilemma of the high cost to ship the large completed statue of Fleet Admiral Chester Nimitz from a sculpture studio in Oregon to its permanent location alongside the battleship USS Missouri Memorial in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Mr. Smith was told and quickly and very generously agreed to airship the statue, all without charge to the Naval Order. We and a nation's public who now are able to learn more about the Navy's greatest leader in the Pacific during World War II are most grateful for his generosity. Mr. Smith, it is with great pride, if you would come forward, that I now present you with the 2015 Admiral of the Navy George Dewey Award.
Well, fortunately, one of the most important things I learned in the Marine Corps was the great wisdom of being brief in any remark. So let me just say to all of you that any recognition that I receive, I understand very clearly is the work product of those 350,000 folks that the captain mentioned. So we're pleased to accept this award, and we were very honored to carry the statue of Fleet Admiral Nimitz to Hawaii to be on permanent display there. And it sort of reminded me a little bit when I was raising the money. I was Senator Dole's bag man for raising the money for the World War II memorial. And after we got it done, then all my buddies from the Marine Corps, who were very senior officers, proved once more that no good deed goes unpunished, and strapped me into service to raise the money for the National Museum of the Marine Corps. So after we moved Fleet Admiral Nimitz's statue, and by the way, I think he and General Marshall were arguably the two greatest figures of the 20th century. I've read his biography and studied the man intently. But this information obviously got out around the country. And I think most of you know the Nimitz Museum is in Fredericksburg, Texas. What is it? Yeah. So, similar to the World War II Memorial and the Museum of the Marine Corps, proving again that no good deed goes unpunished, General Hagee, the former commandant of the Marine Corps, called me and said, I can't let the Navy have the statue at Pearl Harbor alone, so we moved the second statue of Admiral Dewey down to Texas. All kidding aside, we're very honored also we're going to move the statue for you of the Navy chief who's going to stand beside Admiral Nimitz there. So, at any rate, I am very proud of my service in the Marine Corps, part of the Naval branch, as you know. Obviously, you also know all of our corpsmen and chaplains were naval officers and commanders of Filetto. My chaplain in Vietnam was Vincent Capodanno. Medal of Honor man. So, my grandson, Hawken, matriculated to the Naval Academy Prep School last year, and he went into the Academy this July. And my next grandson is at the Naval Academy Prep School now, and hopefully will enter the Academy in July. My father was a commander in the Navy during World War II, and my Uncle Bill ran away from home at 16, was a radio operator on a torpedo bomber at the Battle of the Coral Sea. And fortunately for him, he got sick and wasn't able to go up to the Midway battle, or that branch of the family might not be represented on this earth these days because it's not a good occupation to be a torpedo bomber radio operator. So we have a lot of naval roots, and very proud to accept this award on behalf of the 350,000 folks that make up the FedEx team. Thank you very much.
Al Serafini was the project manager for.
Use the microphone, please.
Al Serafini was the project manager for our Nimitz statue, and I have to admit, sir, that I talked to General Hagee, and we got two statues for the price of one. We reduced the price of our statue by $42,500 because he bought it.
Good.
But as you know, one of the objectives of the Naval Order is to preserve and celebrate and commemorate naval history and its events and people. And we found out a number of years ago, under Greg Streeter's leadership, that there was no Navy monument to the Navy at Normandy. And Marshall was most generous in his response to that project, and we now have a Navy monument at Normandy. And then almost 70 years after the war, we found out there was never a statue to Admiral Nimitz, and so we commissioned a 1.5 life-size statue of the Admiral in his wrinkled wash khaki uniform, and it was 9 feet tall, cast bronze. It was crated in a crate that cost us $5,000 just to crate the statue. 12 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet. And then we had a pedestal that was manufactured in the San Francisco Bay Area of stainless steel tubing, and then black granite, the same black granite that's on the same supplier as on the Vietnam Memorial. And we had a dilemma to try to get that out there. Your company so graciously transported it out there. And I have to say, sir, that when the plane arrived in Honolulu, the crate was reverently handled by your people as if it were the body of the Admiral. And
As it should have been.
well, it was a very proud event for them. They brought it out to the pier, and then all of them participated in the commemoration and dedication, and we thank you so much.
Well, they appreciated being invited to it.
And so, without further ado, sir, we have a bronze maquette of the statue, which we would like you to place in your headquarters in Memphis as a reminder of the fine effort.
Oh, Doug, point out his left hand.
Yes, sir. This is absolutely authentic. His ring finger of his left hand is missing because he lost it in a gear. His Navy Academy ring saved the rest of his hand. It's a wrinkled uniform. The only embellishment of his uniform are the
5 stars.
Well, 5 stars, that's for sure. But,
We wasn't at 5 stars until after the war, I think.
well, there's a story about that too. But
Yeah.
in 1944, Roosevelt started to make a number of officers, Marshall included, a 5-star general, and MacArthur and Nimitz were promoted on the same day with the same radio message. And MacArthur was flying from Melbourne, Australia, his headquarters, to Pearl to meet with Nimitz, and Nimitz met at the plane. As he got off the plane, you remember MacArthur protocol was a big deal with him, and the Admiral salutes the general, and MacArthur looks down and sees his 4-star device, and he says, "What the hell?" And he said, "Well, sir, our bosun mates made one for you too."
That's a great story. I never heard that.
Yes, sir.
Well, I will prize this. We'll put it in a great place of honor, as befits a great man like this. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Smith to have this book that tells all about how he sculpts and how they process it through the foundry. So he signed this and wanted you to have
Thank you
it.
very much. Wonderful.
And this is yours too.
Thank you.
Along with the award comes a lifetime membership of the Naval Order of the United States.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is terrific. Appreciate it.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.